everyone, welcome to church. Today this video is meant to premiere on May 9th, Sunday at 11:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if you're watching this at any other point, it's okay. It's meant to be timeless and watched whenever you want to engage in some sacred practice. The purpose of this video is to guide you through prayer, discussion, meditation, and the blessing of some water to help you set intentions, tune in with yourself, and connect to all there is. I believe that going to church every week is a tradition that many of us have no longer been partaking in for a long time, and ever since I started to go back to church with my dad, even though my beliefs have shifted and I'm not quite Catholic, I feel a lot of peace, and I like the idea of taking the time each week to reconnect to spirit, universe, God, all there is, the self, the true self, whatever you want to call it. I think it's really important to carve out that time as often as possible, but at least once a week. So that's why I created church, kind of like church, to share my thoughts, to inspire you, to give you some ideas to carry with you throughout the week so that you can tune in whenever you feel like it. But during the duration of this video, I'll be guiding you through some prayers, through some meditations, through some activities, and there will be plenty of time for you to make it your own. Feel free to pause the video and add any other little things that you'd like to do that make you feel good, that make you feel connected. Ideally, you will be tuning in at 11:11 on Sundays to these videos, to these premieres, so that as many people can watch at the same time. And as we all tune in at the same time, we create a profound, energetic, amplification of our energy and our intention. This is known as the Maharishi effect. So I will link more information about what that is down below. But overall, this church is meant to connect like-minded people, share my thoughts and experience and my knowledge, as well as research and stuff from varying religious and mystical traditions. This is all for you, for you to have an outline, to be kind of guided through a little bit of a practice. I think it makes it easier that way when we don't have to do it all ourselves. So yeah, without further ado, if you want to be notified of when these videos premiere on Sundays, make sure to hit subscribe here on YouTube and hit the little notification bell, or you can join the private Facebook group, kind of like church, where I host a watch party on Sundays so that we can all kind of chat during the watch party or engage afterwards. That's all for our community there. The group is private, but that's just so that the posts and the people within the group can maintain their privacy, can kind of share with like-minded individuals, and it's not, blown out to the public, to people you might not feel comfortable sharing your thoughts or stories or ideas with. So yeah, feel free to join. There's a couple questions you have to answer to be accepted, but it's automatic. I just ask that you respect people's privacy in there. You spread positivity and love in there, and don't be afraid to engage with our community. It's slowly building as of now, so yeah. Whether you're watching this live for the premiere or you're catching the replay, I hope you get the most out of this practice as possible. Make sure you are in a quiet space where you won't be disturbed for the duration of this video. Grab a piece of paper and a pen if you would like to take notes. Plus, we're gonna, set some intentions, so it's good to write those down. And ideally, you'll have a freshly poured glass of water, or a fresh cup of coffee, tea, or orange juice to set aside for when we bless our beverage. If you're getting something hot, you can wait. You can pause, or I'll give you some time to go and pour yourself a cup of coffee. But for right now, go ahead and get your water, get set, get ready, and we're gonna go and begin our little ceremony this week. Namaste. So to begin, I'm going to offer up a prayer of gratitude. So take a deep breath, sit back and relax, and just listen and set the intention that as I say these words aloud, that you take them into your heart. With unconditional love, grace, and gratitude, we offer this prayer. In this moment, I recognize the fullness of all of life, and I am grateful. I am grateful for the life that breathes me, that brings energy and vitality to every part of my body. I am grateful for all my relations and the ways that love reveals its splendor in connection and in community. I am grateful for my gifts, talents, and abilities, where I get to share the creative energy within me in contribution and service to the world. I am grateful for my physical surroundings and the sustenance I receive each and every day. I am grateful for Mother Earth, Father Sky, and the interconnection between all living creatures. I am grateful for the ever-evolving nature of this universe, which expands my own understanding of what is possible each and every moment of every day. Life is dynamic, life is expanding, life is good. For all of this, I am truly grateful. So as we allow this prayer to resonate in our hearts and in our minds, let us now call to mind all of those people, places, memories, experiences, hopes, and dreams that we are grateful, all of the ideas and insight that we have received. Let us call to mind all those things and thank the universe, thank the world, thank the Lord, the Holy Spirit, for bringing those beautiful circumstances into our life. Even the hard times, the hard lessons that we've been through, the things that taught us something very important about ourselves, others, and of life itself. I am truly blessed. Now, as we reside in this high vibrational state of gratitude and abundance and recognition of all of the beauty and bounty that surrounds us each and every day, all of the opportunity, love, and clarity that is available to us in every moment, let us call to mind the people we love and wish to send positivity, love, and forgiveness to. If there's anybody in your life that you feel disconnected from, that you had maybe a hard time with, you had a miscommunication with, send them love now. You can apologize, you can send them whatever other messages you'd like. And imagine them receiving this knowing of your message in their heart. Consider it done. So now I want to do a little reading before we get into our discussion today about desire. And I want to see, I'm going to pull from my tarot deck here, and we're going to see what we need to know about the week ahead, what we need to do for the week ahead, and what we need to release today and during this week ahead. So it'll be, this will help us set our intentions. So what do we need to know? We have the Chariot in reverse. Okay. What do we need to do? Whoa, okay. have the Eight of Pentacles coming up here. And what do we need to release this week? Princess of Swords. Okay. So this week, Spirit seems to be telling us about our own duality. In the traditional tarot, the Chariot is being pulled by two black and white horses or sphinxes that represent duality, and they're going in different directions. And this talks a lot about being imbalanced, and we can't properly direct our chariot if we aren't balanced, if we haven't gained control over the light and dark parts of ourselves. We live in a dualistic world, and it can be very hard to balance this on our own. So when we ask, give us our daily bread, guide us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. All these things talk about, moving forward with clarity, with surrender, with humility. And the Chariot is all about taking action. We have the number 7 here, which is a spiritual number, very spiritual number. And this week, we must know that things might be a little bit hectic and we're gonna feel imbalanced, but we can't move forward until we balance that energy, until we find our center, which is why I'm so excited that you're tuning into this video to help you do that. But throughout the week, make sure that you are nurturing your emotional self. Quiet your mind, because sometimes our mind just cannot shut up and it will keep giving us possibilities and possible routes to take, but we shouldn't take those routes until we feel in our heart that they are good. So if you're feeling stressed or you're feeling bad in any way, that's an indication that you're not quite ready to move forward on a decision. If it's causing you great anxiety, hold off a little bit, and center yourself. Really define your goal and the path before you step forward, and make sure it feels good to you. With what we need to do this week, the Eight of Pentacles is coming out, and the Eight of Pentacles is all about craftsmanship, building up our empire, our legacy, our material wealth, right? This person has taken a lot of time to create this beautiful sculpture, and so what you need to do this week is really, once you balance yourself and realize that nothing is ever perfect, it's always going to go to and fro. That's a harsh lesson I needed to learn too with just making these videos, is I always go perfectionist mode, and I end up stressing out so much over something that I just really genuinely want to do and I really like to do. But when I stress myself out like that with all these other things that aren't even really necessary, it ruins it, it just ruins it. So take the time to craft out a plan, to build your plan, to take action, take it slow and steady, and maintain your center, right? Maintain the balance as you charge forward during this week with any plans, any projects, any new ventures or opportunities. Make sure it's feeling good for you. Because if you don't feel good about it, it's not going to feel good to you. You're not going to feel proud of it. You're not going to want to continue if it doesn't feel good while you're doing it. And finally, what we need to release is this Princess of Swords energy here. And my understanding of the page in the traditional deck, this is the Page of Swords. And the Swords suit is all about our mental body. And the princess here is someone who is extremely, very creative and very, has lots of fun ideas, very innovative, right? And while I think that that's important, especially as we craft our lives, right? Craft this project that might be coming up for you this week. This is a more stable, abundant sort of energy, right? Just taking hold of opportunities with a steady hand kind of thing, with a balanced state of mind. And this coming out as what we need to release. The Princess of Swords is almost an exhausting kind of energy. Like, you just can't keep up with her, you know? She just keeps coming up with new ideas. She struggles to settle on an idea and really act. She's just constantly, you know, living in the realm of like new ideas. But this is an indication to me, and I wholeheartedly believe this, that many of us are stuck in our mental body when we should be, you know, taking balanced and intentional action in our lives, in whatever realm of your life that speaks to. Release the mental clutter a little bit and just take it step by step, make sure it feels good, and have patience. I think that's a huge part of this. You know, maintain your center and realize that it's not always going to be perfect. It's a roller coaster of life, but it's a-okay. It's a-okay. So what you need to do is just stay in this beautiful energy. I mean, look at how colorful and vibrant this energy is. So with our intention out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about this thing called desire. Desire leads to suffering, and this is absolutely true. And this used to confuse the crap out of me, because there's a certain level of desire that is healthy that we need in order to craft the life that we want. You know, we don't know what to do unless we're being guided by a fulfilling feeling, unless we're being guided by that feeling that this feels right. That's the whole purpose of our intuition, right? To make sure we're on the right track. And so if something's not feeling right, then that's a clear indication that something just isn't right. Whether it's your own mindset, whether it's what someone else is doing, whether it's with the project that you decided to undertake, something's not right if you're not feeling right. However, desire in an unhealthy sense definitely leads to suffering. And this is because oftentimes we confuse our healthy desires that keep us moving and keep us building heaven on earth, for instance. We confuse that healthy desire with desires that are actually unattainable, that are actually unrealistic, and actually inhibiting to us really creating a fulfilling and happy life. And this is because it keeps us stagnant. It keeps us stuck, and it holds us and it traps us in this desire. And so the best way that I can explain this and how I've learned about this recently is I've recently had an experience where I was having a mega conflict with a loved one, and I was really on the verge of, you know, stepping away from the relationship and just like saying screw it, and or saying screw it to my desire. And because I was so confused, thinking that this desire of mine was a healthy desire that I deserved to pursue, that, you know, I was worthy of, which is all technically true, right? You deserve to be happy, you deserve to go for what you want, to be satisfied. What I was actually kind of dreaming up in my mind, desiring, was actually an ideal, an unattainable ideal that my mind had produced and projected, and was filtering my reality through. So I'll be honest, this desire, this ideal was for like an ideal partner. And ever since I was a kid, I have been interested in, like, you know, princess movies, in romance. Like, I'm definitely kind of a hopeless romantic type. And one of the first movies that really, like, awoke me to, like, wanting the perfect partner is Dirty Dancing. And if you've ever seen Dirty Dancing, Patrick Swayze in that movie is fine, right? But he's not perfect in that movie either. Like, his character is not a perfect human. But because this was such a deep-seated desire, like a really idealized desire in my head, because I watched that movie when I was a kid, and then, you know, over the years, it's like, that was like what I was always striving for. So even if I'd meet people that were really nice and like, or I really connected with, I was still perceiving them through this ideal filter that no human could ever fit. Not even Patrick Swayze himself or Johnny in Dirty Dancing could fulfill, because it was not even like how the relationship went down in Dirty Dancing that I was desiring or wanting for myself, right? It was so much more than that. And I realized this during a time when I was just going back and forth, having to make this decision, and I was so guilty, and I felt so sick to my stomach and hopeless, because on one hand, I wanted to accept my reality for all of its goodness, but because I was viewing it through this desire that I was unwilling to let go of, I was suffering because I either let go of this thing that I already have, and that just seems like a waste, and that just seems, you know, so awful. But then the question is, will I be able to get this desire? Is what I'm letting go of for this desire worth it? You know, is it worth letting go of to keep striving for this desire? And then on the flip side of that, it was like, you know, going for that other person, I felt like I was settling, which is so silly, because like I said, this tricky little desire snuck into my mind and into my heart and was filtering my experience through this ideal, unattainable craving, right? And because of that, and because of my unwillingness to actually release that and realize that that's actually impossible, and even Johnny in Dirty Dancing was a flawed human being, and that this was just a product of my mind, and because of my unwillingness to release that, I was making myself sick with suffering. And when I finally realized that, I could drop this fight. The Five of Wands energy that came out when I was first shuffling this, the Five of Wands energy is the kind of energy that of two people who are unwilling to drop their swords, you know, they're just like fighting till the death, and this is not a happy fight. No one leaves happy. No one really wins in a conflict like this. And that's exactly what we need to look out for with our desires, with our mental projections, you know. In fact, I was making myself feel pretty good with this desire too. Like, I was making myself, you know, when things weren't satisfying me in my life, it was very easy to just go into my fantasy, right? To go into like my daydreaming of an ideal life, whatever it is, even just beyond this ideal partner, right? This ideal romantic partner. Even beyond that, notice how we use our desires, how attached we become to them, because they become our safe haven when things in our life aren't working as planned. That is not an abundant state of mind. That is not a gracious state of mind, you know? We make ourselves feel better, but for how long? And then after a while, we start to build a resentment towards our actual reality because of this desire, of this ideal image of life that is just actually not real. And in a way, you know, visualization is very important to move us towards our goals. Having a clear idea of what you want is good. Having clear boundaries, you know, of you know, not settling for less than what you truly desire and what would truly satisfy you. That's all important. But we need to be realistic with ourselves, and we have to be willing to let go of these ideals, of this attachment to this other place that we are filtering real life through. Because when we're filtering life through that place, our life will never meet those expectations, ever. And life is truly beautiful, and there's so much abundance and bounty and great experience and opportunity out there for us. But if we're too busy comparing it to this mental creation of perfection, of whatever the desire might be, a perfect house, this much money, you know, the perfect body, we won't see the progress that we make each and every day. We won't see the beauty in each and every moment, because it's not this ideal, it's not the filter. Or in Buddhism and in Vedic tradition, it's not Maya, right? And so if we're caught in that illusion of this is what life is supposed to be, then we can in absolutely no way truly see what life actually is. So I hope that makes sense. This isn't about shaming yourself for having desire either, because when you catch yourself in a desire like that, you don't want to beat yourself up. That's something that I did, and it can feel really, really bad and shameful. And we all have these desires. I mean, it could be anything, you know. It could be, you know, you really want like a really specific person in your life, but you already are in a great relationship, which is what happened to me. And that caused a lot of problems in my relationship, which have been worked through now, because I realized that letting go of that desire was not settling, right? Because that desire that I'm letting go of, again, is an ideal, an unattainable ideal. And once I was willing to let go of that, I realized how much I truly had and how satisfied I truly was in my relationship. But until I let go of that desire, I felt like I was settling, right? I felt like I was constantly still searching, that I still hadn't found what it was that I was looking for. But it was because it was an illusion. It was a delusional fantasy. It was something, again, unreal, unattainable. So if you have something like this in your life, realize that life is not perfect. But in that imperfection of life, there is so much knowledge, wisdom, so many lessons to be learned in those imperfections, in the hardship, in the turmoil. There's so much innocence and sort of grace and endearing qualities, so many endearing qualities that can be found in imperfection once we're able to release this idea that life has to be this perfect thing. When we realize that the imperfection of our life right now is in its own way perfect, it is what it is, right? It is as it is meant to be. It is what it is meant to be. When we realize that, we're free, because then we take every single moment as it is. And we have our standards, right? We have our intuition there to guide us, to say, this isn't so good, this doesn't feel too good. What can I learn from this? What is this situation telling me, right? But that's part of the fun, and that's sort of part of it. But when we're feeling bad and we rush to our, to the arms of our daydreams and our escapism, that's not living life. That's just running away from life. That's running away from yourself, and that's running away from the true, powerful responsibility that you need to take up, the accountability for your own life. Life isn't meant to be easy. Life isn't meant to feel good all the time. But when you realize that all those things are acting in your greatest good to teach you something, to lead you to greater fulfillment and happiness and abundance and prosperity and fulfillment, you can be gracious and you can be grateful for all that comes and crosses your path. no matter how dark and scary and chaotic it might seem. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm not being like too fluffy in my words there. I really do mean what I'm talking about here. I think, with this judgment here kind of coming in at the back of the deck, this is indicating to me, and I totally believe this, that, many of us think that judgment is this scary thing to be looked at for our imperfections, for people to see our dark side, for people to see our mistakes. Brings us a lot of fear and shame. And that's not what judgment is about. Greater judgment, that sort of bird's eye view of life and of your life, does not judge you harshly, does not punish you with shame, or, it does not want to make you feel stupid. It just wants to kind of like tickle it out of you and be like, come on now, like move on. You don't need that, or yeah, that was a bad idea, but now you know what to do next, or what to do next time instead. Judgment is a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's compassionate, it is understanding, and it recognizes imperfection, it recognizes our humanity for what it is. It's pure, it's purely imperfect, purely, so effed up sometimes, But if we're willing to look at it with compassion and forgiveness, it doesn't have to keep us buried. That's when we rise up from our tombs and we are free. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say with that is what happened to me, right, is I was caught in this specific example, right, I was caught in making this decision. I was like, I'm not happy in this relationship, and I'm not sure if I could ever satisfy this desire in another person or in this person. And I was going back and forth, and I was making myself feel so sick, so guilty. I was being mean. I couldn't let go. And a funny thing kind of happened where the person that I was talking with and kind of in this debacle with looked at me, and they were just kind of like looking at me, and it was kind of crazy. It was almost like something came over them, but they were just like looking at me, and I was like, whoa, why are you looking at me like that? And I kind of started laughing because I thought they were kidding around, and they were like, no, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. And I just had this profound sense of like release, like whether it was, this person looking at me or kind of something else, like spirit kind of coming in and like mirroring back to me myself, or, however you want to kind of put it. Judgment was happening, and it scared me. I felt so vulnerable. I felt so exposed and like shameful for having these desires and for suffering and for going back and forth and all the guilt and blah, right? But judgment came through the look in my boyfriend's eyes. Whether it was him, whether it was, I believe it was like the Holy Spirit, an angel or something coming through and just looking at me for who I was. It's just this human struggling with her desires, not willing to let go. And that's all it is. When you're in it, it feels so awful, and you're like going back and forth, and you don't know what to think or feel, and you're just stuck. And that, my friend, is samsara. That, my friend, is the cycle of karma. That, my friend, is going through the ringer of your attachments, of your karma, of your thoughts and your actions. And in the middle of that, right, in that roller coaster, but judgment releases you. Judgment just sees the process for what it is and reminds you that you are forgiven, you are loved, you are innocent. Just step out of your suffering. Don't pay any more attention to it. Surrender it to God. Let it go. God will forgive you your trespasses as you forgive those who trespass against you. Let it flow, baby. That's kind of like, I don't really, it's a complex thing, and I don't know if I described it very clearly, but it was a very intense situation that happened to me, and I hope that it sort of illuminated the difference between a healthy desire, right? A healthy want, a healthy, building and creating of life, a fulfilling life, of a peaceful, happy life. The difference between that and the desire that I was experiencing, the kind of attachment, the sort of addiction to something that we know we can't have, but it's so good because we created it, right? And it's escapist. And we're so attached to this little realm that we've created, this little ideal possibility that we just think could show up in our reality. But if we're living in that space, we can't accept the beauty and the imperfection of life as we live through it. We're escaping it. We're ignoring it. And that causes so much confusion. Because you're not always in that place, right? And there's like good stuff happening. But then when bad things happen, we're unwilling to admit that that doesn't feel good. And instead of admitting that to ourselves, working through it, taking accountability for this maybe pain or discomfort that we're feeling in our life, we escape to this desire. And then we filter it through our desire. And we end up shutting people out of our life. We end up isolating people. We end up isolating ourselves from people, because we're too caught up in wanting this thing and not allowing people, experiences, and life to be as it is and to be as imperfect as it is. Yeah, I think, yeah. So keep that in mind. Feel free to rewind or whatever. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about, if you have experienced this topic of, this concept of attachment leads to suffering. And let's discuss in the Facebook group, let's discuss in the YouTube comments down below. And as we sit with that for a few moments longer, we're going to now move into setting some intentions for our week ahead. So now, over the next 2 minutes or so, take this time to write on your piece of paper anything that you'd like that came up to you during the reading, anything you'd like to release, that you intend to release, anything you intend to bring into your life, whether it be a new belief, a new understanding, a new aspect of your routine. Whatever it may be, this is absolutely your time to set some intentions for your week, for your day, for yourself, and for others, whatever it may be. So go ahead and take the time to do that, and then we're going to meditate and visualize for about 2 minutes, and then we're going to invoke our intentions into our water and sort of cast a little spell over our water and then drink it. And that will conclude today's ceremony, today's practice. So now that you have visualized some intentions of things you would like, that you intend to release or bring into your life, whether that be releasing shame, doubt, and fear, and inviting love, compassion, and abundance into your life, whatever it is, now that you've visualized that and sat with that, written it down, we're going to now sort of bless our water with all of those things in mind. Take your beverage or your water into your hands. Breathe deeply, thinking back to all that you just set forth with your intention, with your focus and your awareness. And imagine all of those beautiful things entering into your water. Imagine programming every single molecule in your beverage, in your glass of water, programming them with your intention to bring forth all of those wonderful things that you intend to bring forth, or to act as a repellent and to cleanse you of all of those things that you wish to release. Through unconditional love and compassion, always. And now that you've imagined every single molecule taking on this programming to act out your will, I now recite this prayer for all of us, and imagine my words also adding to the programming of your water, if you so choose. My heart light is unmasked from shame, fear, and doubt. Those that seek to torment me are unequivocally uninvited now. I bow only before divine truth, light, and love. All else is summarily dismissed. And so it is. Go ahead and take a sip of your water. Beautiful. Cheers, everyone. So that concludes today's church service. I hope you learned something. I hope you feel inspired. I hope you felt tuned in and connected. I hope that you join me again next week in another discussion, in more prayers and blessings and meditation. And I am sending you lots of love. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell to get notified every time I post on Sundays and throughout the week if I post other new videos. Don't forget to join the private Facebook group if you want to engage with our community and join the Sunday watch parties when these videos go live on Sundays, 11:11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Below you will also find links to donate to my PayPal to support me and my work. I really want to build this brand and build this channel to continue offering you all content and sending you my love, and this is just the best way that I know how to serve people. So yeah, if you would like to support me, feel free to donate down below. Any amount helps, and I'm so grateful. Thank you in advance for that. And also don't forget to check out my website, evheals.com, to see my other offerings. I offer personal tarot readings, and there you can also find my Facebook, and you can, find all of my other links down below. So thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in today. Have a wonderful rest of your day and a wonderful week. I will see you next Sunday. Bye.